session because it might be very, very useful afterwards for some of us that might need it. Okay, so now, okay, so this is a part to also designing something, being able to define the question, designing something useful for someone. So goals, wishes, what's your partner trying to achieve, learn how to code, remember to do list, and so on. She have to get married if she doesn't have. So this is goal. This is someone's wish. This is someone's problem. The problem is that this guy is trying to learn how to code, or someone is to remember how the to-do list, and they are trying to get insights into the person. So no, she have to get married if she doesn't. So these are just random scenarios. I'm sorry I'm not able to really. I should have drafted a scenario that takes us through the whole class, but I was just trying to put a lot of things together to get this work. So his girlfriend's, so these are insights to solving someone's problem. The girlfriend's, so take a standard point of view. This is it. So this is trying to capture findings here. This is a third level. This is a third level thinking. And then this guy here is trying to take a point of view from these findings that are here. Trying to take a point of view, all right? Okay. Now, this part I'm trying to talk about, I have a lot of things on this page that I would just try to, if I made it into different slides, it would take a lot of time. So I would, so innovative thinking is really what design thinking is. And then the innovation is the mind gap. The mind gap, that is the difference, the gap between the current state, the problem, and then the vision or the purpose or the problem you're trying to solve. So let's assume that the vision, what I have in mind is to be able to um, get people to um, to score A's in a particular course. So probably the problem at the moment is that in this particular course I'm taking as a lecturer, people score F's. People fail this course a lot. And then my vision now, the purpose of the solution I'm trying to drive is that people can begin to score A's. So in innovative thing, I'm trying to say that the innovation is the mind gap, the gap between the problem and the solution we're talking about. The gap between the problem and the vision that I have, which is people being able to score A, get A, sorry. And okay, so and that is possible with a change formula. So there's a formula I use for change, and that is dissatisfaction times vision times first steps. Now, the dissatisfaction of the people by then times my vision times my first steps must be greater than resistance. Now, what is the resistance? The resistance is the no's I'm getting, the pushbacks I'm getting, the uh, um, um, the drawbacks I'm getting. So my dissatisfaction, how well I want this problem solved, how well I don't want the things to continue the way they are. That's dissatisfaction times the vision, which is people being able to get A, and the first steps, the things I begin to do first, must be greater than the resistance that the people are getting. Sorry, the resistance I'm having from the people. So that's the change formula. Dissatisfaction times vision times first steps. Now, what do I mean by first steps? First steps are the things I begin to do first, the things that I start doing immediately. See, in design thinking, you don't do dilly dally. In solving problems, sorry, you don't do dilly dally. You don't waste time. You don't wait till it's perfect. The founder of LinkedIn said something. I was listening to one of his trainings, and he says that if your product gets to the market when it is perfect, it means it is getting to the market so late. So I must be able to, get it into the market and then be able to create points of iteration where I have improvements coming on my. So once you're waiting for a time where it is perfect, it is wholesome, man, you're so late at that point. So there must be that satisfaction that is multiplied by my vision, which is what I want to see, which is the end result I want to get. Then the first steps I begin to take, and then which must be greater than the resistance I'm getting, the drawbacks that I'm getting, the drawbacks I'm getting. Okay, so there's this part that I really want to talk about, and that's the brainstorming, mapping out the problem. Brainstorming, mapping out problem. There's what I call the problem tree analysis. The problem tree analysis. Uh, this is a tree that helps me to find the root causes of problems. So I begin to say, what is the root cause of why really is this people, like the analogy of the guy that gets to school very, very late. I had to move from one problem to another problem. So I'm trying to really dig that. That is brainstorming, finding out the root cause of the problem. And when I find out the root cause of the problem, I begin to find what the consequences of this problem is. So that guy, the instance of the guy that gets to school late, the consequence of getting to school late means that uh, 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 she might have missed some lectures. She might have missed some lectures. So she might have missed some lectures, and then I begin to add observations to that, begin to add, sorry, I'm trying to admit people, okay, begin to add observations to it, and then, which is derived from the consequence of the problem. So it's a problem tree analysis where I begin to look at the root cause of the problem, the root cause. Why is this thing really happening? Why is it happening? Why is it really happening? And then I begin to look at the consequences of the problem. So now this part is bold. I had to bolden it. I said synthesize instead of analyze. Synthesize instead of analyze. What do I mean by synthesizing? So a while ago, I think around May or June, we had a training on the acquiring the minds of the future, and where we had to talk about 5 minds that every 21st century person needs to have to be able to survive now. We talked about the creative mind. We talked about the synthesizing mind. We talked about the relational mind. So I had to talk about 5 different kinds of mind. So a synthesizing mind is that kind of mind that is able to bring in different kinds of knowledge together to form one. What am I saying? So I'm trying to solve a problem. So I'll bring in my knowledge in IT, bring in my knowledge in different things to be able to solve the problem. Bringing, synthesizing actually means bringing different things together to a wholesomeness. So I bring in my knowledge in IT, my knowledge in geography, my knowledge in medicine, my knowledge in, and knowledge doesn't have to be something very, very deep. It just has to be something you've heard before, or something you've researched about, or something you know on the surface that would help your solution. So you have to always keep synthesizing. Don't think in a one-way direction. That's what I mean. Don't be a one-way thinker. Be someone who brings in different kinds of knowledge together, and then you're able to form something. So analyzing means you're just analyzing one thing. No, always synthesize, bring different knowledge together, research on different things, and then bring them together. So now this is going to be the solving part of our problem solving part, definition part, which is to talk about how to now frame your problem now. So now in your definition, you would have to be talking about how might we action what for whom in order to change something. How do we how do I teach people physics, or how do I teach people in University of Ilorin or University of Ibadan physics, that is the womb now, the people, in order for them to score A's in their forthcoming exam? How do I teach the action, what physics, whom Ilorin, University of Ilorin students, or University of Ibadan students, or my students in school, so that I can change their results from F to A, so that they can begin to score A. So you must now, this how might, I think you need to take note of this question framing pattern. How might we action what for whom in order to, because like I said, you must really be able to define your problem for you to be able to come up with solutions to those problems. Okay, so how might we make sonar bug reports better? How might we say that? That's the problem's definition debate now. How might we? It just has to start with how might we. How might we make the requirements more understandable for the development team? How might we help Mr. A to see his girlfriend every time he needs to see him, to see her? Sorry. How might we help Mr. B remember his to-do list? How might we now? You need to always be mindful of something. Do not add your solution to your problem definition domain. Never add your solution. Example of adding your solution is, how might we use an app? The app will be the solution. So never you add, because the solution that the person needs might not really be an app. It might be something else. So when you don't add in your problem definition domain, anytime you begin to add a solution, you begin to shut yourself from viewing other perspectives to the problem. So how might we make the sonar bug report better? How might we make the requirement more understandable? How might we help Mr. A to see his girlfriend every time he wants to see her? How might we help Mr. B remember his to-do list? You see, in all this, I've only left myself with the problem definition domain and not left that. I didn't add my solution, all right? Because a lot of things would really have to be considered for me to come up with a solution to it. Okay, so the third part will now be ideating. Ideation thrives on creativity. Ideation thrives on creativity. And what is creativity? Creativity is transcending the traditional way of doing things. This is how it is done, but I'm trying to bring in A and B. I'm trying to add A and B. I'm trying to bring in my synthesizing abilities to be able to come up with a new idea, come up with a new solution. So transcending traditional way of doing things, that is ideation now. It survives on creativity. It survives on creativity. You need to look away from the conventional way of people doing things into a new way of doing it. And how do you don't do that by shutting yourself to a perspective. You do that by being being so open to ideas. So subsequently we'll get to that part. All right. So now, and so like I said, you don't say your solution in problem definition domain. No, you don't say your solution. Why? Because the best way to have a good idea is to have lots of ideas. Look at these bulbs now. These are different ideas of bulbs. These are different kinds of bulb. This guy is trying to draw a bulb. There are different ways of putting up the bulb together. So if I just draw a bulb in a particular way, I can't be able to get the best. So I have to begin to ideate, bring different ideas together. And for me to bring in different ideas together, I have to be open. I have to be open. I have to be open. I have to be very, very open. Open to, that is why the synthesizing mind has to really come into play. You would not be able to survive the 21st century unless you are able to synthesize. You can't survive the 21st century unless you're able to synthesize. So the best way to have a good idea is to have lots of ideas. Have lots of ideas. Write the ideas now. Okay, so there are this so in your having lots of ideas, there are rules to generating an idea. There are rules to generating an idea, rules that helps you now be able to dive down to the last idea that would be able to sell or be able to meet the problem rightly. So these are the rules to generating ideas. Number one is defer judgment. What I mean by defer judgment is don't conclude that this is the best idea immediately. Don't be too quick to conclude on an idea. Sorry, I'm close to the main road and siren is passing. I don't know how to sure that the noise might be coming into the microphone. Please bear with me. All right. So the far judgment. Don't conclude so fast. Don't be so quick at concluding. Defer judgment. So make sure you have a list of what you call your ideas. Let there be an ideal list. Ideal list. Ideal to defer judgment. Don't be so quick to conclude. That's why I defer judgment. Number two is encourage wild ideas. See, so in ideation rooms, there's nothing like a stupid idea. There's nothing like this guy, you're out of your mind. No. So whatever idea comes to your mind as in regards solving a problem, write it down. Encourage wild ideas, think wildly, go out of the box, think, go. But once it comes to your mind, make sure you're able to write it down as a possible solution to the problem. So number two, three is build on ideas of others. Build on ideas of others. See, you might not really not be an island of knowledge. You might not really. So did I say minority? Nobody's an island of knowledge. I'm trying to say you're not an island of knowledge. So a problem might have been existing, and there's also a solution. But this solution is not really meeting it well. It's not digging deep into what people need to get. So you're trying to build on other people's ideas to solve the problem. Let me give you a quick example. So it was someone's idea to begin to create a geolocation solution. Geolocation means being able to track your location, the longitude and the latitude. WhatsApp has location pin. It was someone's idea to build. Say that I can send my location to you wherever you are, and then you'll come and meet me. And then in Uber trying to build a solution that helps people transport, they had to plug into an existing idea of geolocation. Are we understanding? Somebody had to think about the messaging system, being able to message people through text. And then they also built so in your solution, you would have to bring in different ideas of people, build on different ideas that are existing so that you're able to create something, build up like that. So number four, stay focused. Stay focused. What are you staying focused on? You are staying focused on the problem you want to solve. You're staying focused on, sorry, two things. You're staying focused on the problem you want to solve, and you're staying focused on the vision that you have. That is the end result. You're staying focused on two things. You're staying focused on the problem, and you're staying focused on the end result. Now, most time in the course of trying to get solutions to problems, different digressions come in. While you're exploring different ideas, exploring different innovative concepts coming to your head, something begins to happen. Your focus at times begins to digress, begins to think of different things. So in your solving a problem, you need to stay focused on the problem, and then stay focused on the vision, end product you want to have. Number fifth thing you would have to do as most generating ideas is, like I've been trying to say, a different judgment. Headline your ideas, make a list of your ideas, and write your ideas down. No idea is stupid, no idea is wild. Once it comes to your head, write it down. Right? It could be 50 ideas comes to your head, write it down, write it down, write it down. Number six will be visual. Be visual. Don't be stereotypic in your thinking. Be visual. What I mean by visual, see your solution. You see, I might be writing it down, but I am seeing it. I might be designing, but I'm seeing it. Now, please mute your microphones. Okay, so because I have been able to empathize at first, I am having a visual representation of how my solution begins to meet up with the problem, how my solution begins to solve the problem. So do not be stereotypic, do not be visual, be visual, see it. You see, I can see, as I am here seated down now, I can see things that are not before me. That is the power that a human being has. You have the power to visualize, to look into your mind, to see things that are not existing yet. You see, I can picture myself in an aeroplane now, taking my hands out of the window. It is not an existing scenario, but I can see my picture of myself there. So in you trying to solve a problem, you need to be visual, into a visual. And number seven will be one conversation at a time. 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 What do I mean by that? You have to take it one step after the other. One step after the other. Don't conjuncture things together. In your interviews, one step after the other. In your stage of immersion, one step after the other. One step at a time helps you a lot. And then finally, go for quantity and not quality. Go for quantity, not quality. You see, you will always hear go for quality. No, go for quantity. Start anyhow. Start anyhow. I told you that the founder of LinkedIn said, and a lot of people have said it, I've had to go through different Harvard Business Reviews, and what they would have to say is, leave out quality at first. Go for quantity. Go for quantity. And what I'm now quantity here I'm talking about is quantity of ideas. When you start refining one single idea, it takes time, and most of the time you are in a loop of not really getting to the root, getting to the right thing. So be in quantity of ideas. Quantity, how many ideas am I able to generate, so that subsequently I am now able to narrow it down to quality ideas, both quality and not quality. Write everything down, and then with time narrow it down to quality idea. Those are the rules to generating ideas. And then so so in your generating ideas, you might have to sketch. This is five sketch at least on how to meet your user's idea. So in doing this, most of the time I use sticky notes to do mine. I write different things. I write my ideas together. I write my ideas, I sketch them, I do all that. I do all that, and to just make sure that I have different ideas. So, and now when I have different ideas, I cannot begin to rule out whichever the ideas doesn't work for me. So I trade based on feedback. So when I have different ideas now, how I begin to rule out the ones that are not now quality is based on feedbacks. So I now begin to I trade based on feedback. I reflect and generate this. I reflect on this idea. I think about this idea that I have. How possible is it going to be? And how possible is it going to be, how economical is it going to be, how accessible is it going to be, and based on these criteria, I begin to narrow it down to what I now call the quality idea. Don't forget, at first I had quantity idea. I'm now narrowing it down to quality idea. Okay, so in creativity, like I said, you don't see what you're looking at, you see what you're looking for. You don't see what you're looking at, you see what you're looking for. Some people, I did a proposal recently. And in my proposal, I felt that was a very, very perfect proposal. Very, very perfect, no errors, nothing. I had gone through it several times. I didn't find any error. But I had a friend who, what he looks out for when he picks a document, what he sees in that document are errors. So what am I saying now? So he's looking at the perfect document. So you don't see what you're looking at. The document looks so beautiful, so well designed. You see what you're looking for. My friend was looking for errors, and he was just seeing errors. You see what you're looking for. So let me just quickly take you through how creative people reveals. They perceive the world more differently. There's no one way to see the world. There's no one way to see things. In fact, the best way to be creative is to see things from different perspectives, see things from different angles. See things from different angles. So they perceive the world more differently, more tactical, more visual, and then that's how they become creative. So always ask yourself, in how many ways can I do the same thing? In how many ways can I see the same thing? In how many ways, for example, in how many ways can I place my TV in my parlor and it will still look impressive? In how many ways can I arrange the seats in my parlor? Those are just little things that help to boost your creativity. So they perceive the world in more different ways, in more tactical ways and more visual ways. They have high social awareness response. That is empathy. They have high social, so they are quick to see how people feel, to think, to see how people see things, to how people perceive a particular thing. They have a high social awareness response. And number three, they don't fear. See, the critical killer of creativity, the critical killer of creativity is fear. You're afraid, what if I do it this way and it doesn't work? What if I do it and the people laugh at me? What if I do it that way and it's just looking so nasty? No, 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 no. You need to lower your fear response to novelty. Lower it. Kill fear if it's possible. Kill it. Kill your fear. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Do it, and do it. That's just the way. So quickly, how to train yourself to be creative? Number one is train yourself to get stuck. Don't be afraid of getting stuck. Yes, some of us are so scared of getting stuck. Like I told you, I was in a business meeting this afternoon. We're talking about how to establish a business in Ilorin. And then at the point in that I got stuck, and when I got stuck, I had to sit back, and brainstorm again, and then until I found a solution to it. So there's a game called the 30 circles exercise where you just draw 30 circles, and with those 30 circles, begin to form things with the 30 circles, form different things with 30 circles. It's just a way to see how creative you can be with 30 circles. Can this guy create meaningful things with 30 circles, 30 different circular objects? If you can create that, then you're creative. So try 30 circles exercise on your own. Just draw 30 circles on your sheet of paper and then begin to create things out of 30 circles. Now, train yourself to brainstorm well. Move from analysis to synthesis. I told you, move from analysis to synthesis. Your synthesizing abilities are ability to bring in different disjointed ideas together, and then you're able to form one idea with them. Bring different disjointed. So there's a website that I like looking at. It's called betterbrainstorms.com. You can look at betterbrainstorms.com on how to improve your thinking, brainstorming, or look at the book called Improved Wisdom. That improve IMPROV wisdom. Look for the book on PDF drive and you'll get it. Number three is space. Space creates behavior. Space creates behavior. Make your space self-authoring. For me, when I want to think, when I want to do creative things, I can't do creative things in a dirty environment. So first thing, I can spend 1 hour trying to make my environment very, very clean before I start doing anything. I can't even think in a dirty environment. So, you see, in my room, I have different stuff on the wall that helps boost my creativity. So space, so make your space self-authoring. Design your space to be self-inspiring. Let your space be. Don't you can't really think in a shabby environment. So make your space look good. So model the behavior you want to see, act differently and reward differently. Act differently, reward differently. How do you want to see yourself? So act the way you want to see. Be patient and lower the fear of failure. If you're able to do these 6 things, you would have helped yourself to become very, very creative. All right, so the fourth, we're going to number 5 thing. So the fourth step in creativity, we have to talk about empathizing. We have to talk about being able to now define your problem well. You've empathized, you've felt how the people are. You've now been able to get to what their problem is. Then you define the problem. Then begin to ideate. You've written down different ideas. You've had your ideation headline. You have your headlines. You've done the rules of ideation. And then the next step is prototyping. Prototyping is that stage where you now begin to build your solution. You're not building it in the real sense. Now, in this prototyping part is where I now begin to probably sketch or write down or draw. I'm sketching, I'm writing down, I'm drawing, I'm doing a video, I'm doing prototyping. So prototyping allows us to fail early so we can succeed sooner. So I'm doing a prototype of what I think is the solution of that in my ideation part I have had quality ideas and then I've streamlined my quantity ideas and I've streamlined my quantity ideas into quality ideas based on iterations and feedbacks I've gotten from analyzing each of the ideas, looking into each of the ideas. So at this point now, I now have my idea, which is the quality idea, and then I am prototyping it. Prototyping it means creating a not real solution that I want to have. A not real solution. It is not very, very real. That is why part of the most selling businesses in the IT world today, part of the most selling businesses in the IT world today is, sorry, the best selling skill. Part of the best selling skills in the IT world today is the skill of user interface design, being able to become a user. They are called UI designers. UI designers are people that design your solution for you. And after they've designed it, they prototype it. How will this thing work in the real sense? So what you do in prototyping is you are sketching, you are designing, you are writing out, you are drawing how the solution would work in the real sense. What it helps to do is it helps you to fail. So you see, in your case of prototyping, you are saying that no, this thing will not work. It's not working like this. And when it doesn't work like that, you are able to now go back to ideation and then create a better way to do it. So what prototyping helps us do is that it helps us to fail early so that we can succeed so sooner. All right. So that leads to prototyping. Like I said, don't wait till it's perfect. So just start building. Start building. Don't spend too much time. These are the guidelines. Don't spend too much time. Remember what you're testing for. Like I said, remember what you're testing for. Always have the problem in mind and then have the end result in mind. Build with the user in mind. Like I said, look at that guy the tall guy that built an ATM machine, and then the ATM machine is not usable for those that are averagely tall or that are short. So you must bear the user in mind. Before I use my solution that are tall, they are short, and they are medium. So I have to place it at middle or place it low where anybody can. So and then fast and cheap in your prototyping. These are the guidelines. So these are the tools of prototyping. Tools you can use in your prototyping. A paper, like I said, you can draw, you can sketch. Your pen, your cutting and sticking tools. I told you I use sticking tools a lot. I stick everywhere. I write my ideas, I stick them. Cards, mock-up tools. You can use animatics and so a lot of things. So you need to be able to look at what would be able to show your solution at a raw state before you get to the final state of your solution. And now this is the final stage. So I have been able to empathize, I've been able to define the problem, I have been able to ideate, I have prototyped, and then in my prototype, I have failed and now got into the solution. I mean, what would really work. So at the prototype part, you found out this solution is going to work, but at a particular junction is going to fail. So we're trying to find out how to really get it to work there. So you prototype and then you get to the testing part. The begin had something to say about testing. He said we all need people who will give us feedbacks, and that's how we improve. So you've now built a solution now. Your solution is now working. And mind you, the solution can be anything. Your solution can be anything. The essence of this training is so that you can leave this training today, and then tomorrow you are no longer complaining about problems. What you're doing is that you're looking at those problems and you're always thinking about how to come up with solutions to them. Are we together? That you live here, you are no longer a complainer, you're now a solution provider. You're now a solution provider. And also that you live here and then you are able to begin to look for problems everywhere. You see, the people that would be able to survive now are people who are looking for problems. You must become a problem looker for someone that looks for problems everywhere. So you have built your solution here, then you are at the testing stage. So always give your solutions to someone who helps you to test so that you can get the feedback and then improve on it. Guidelines, guidelines to your test. Let your users compare alternatives. Let your users compare alternatives. Probably there's an existing solution. Let them compare. Show, don't tell. So allow them to use. Don't tell them. Don't tell them don't tell them the superiority of your solution. Allow them to use the solution and then come up with um, 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 what they would call the superiority of the solution. So ask this to talk through their experience, observe, ask follow-up questions and so on. Ask follow-up questions like, what do you mean when you say so thing? Well, how do you make how did that make you feel? I mean, my solution now. How did my solution make you feel? Ask several why questions. Why is this like this? Why is it like why? Several why questions. Now outputs. This should be the output of your testing now. The testing should give you the following feedbacks to know what you should keep, what should we what we should keep, what we should change, what we should discard. I have tested what should I keep in this my solution, what should I change about my solution, what should I discard about my solution. These three things should be the output that your testing gives you. So build, build. Just like I said, don't spend too much time. Know what you're testing for, build with the user in mind, and try to be fast and cheap. Share your solution and get feedback. We talked about this and this. Now, so these are the key metrics to know. So this should have come earlier. So know how will who will help you. So at times in building a solution, it really might not be something I can do alone. So ask yourself, key partners, who are my key partners? Who will help me in building a solution? How will I do it? What are the key activities I need to do to get to this solution? What do I do? This is now the what do I do to get to that? What's the value I'm going to be giving to these people as a means of solving that problem? How do I interact with people? Don't forget I told you that you have to interview people. You need to draft your questions. What questions will help you get to the solution you want? How do I interact with people? How do I, So who do you help? Who do you have? This is a customer segment where you need to understand your people. What do you need? What are the key resources you need? And then how do you reach the people? How do you reach it? That is now you've now built now you now want to start deploying your solutions, the distribution channels and so on. What will it cost? The cost structure. How much will you make the revenue stream? So these are the key metrics you need to know while you're building your solution finally. So this is a summary of everything I've had to talk about today. Empathize in defining user need insight, POV, point of view, the point of view of the people, observation, interview, immersion. How might we brainstorm? That's the idea. Yes, yes, no, no, no. What are the no's? Rapid prototyping, relevant, it should be fast, it should be cheap, build to learn. Knowledge to show, don't tell people at your testing part. And now, so your test helps you to empathize again, helps you redefine. So the cycle continues like that and like that. So in case you need books to read more to become a better designer, you can get a book, Change by Design by Tim Brown, or Creative Excellence by Tom Keller. Creative Excellence by Tom Keller. Thanks. At this junction, I would want to take your questions. You can find me at this is my LinkedIn URL, LinkedIn, and you know. Okay, so we need your feedback. Follow us on Instagram at Edgy Ideas. Edgy Ideas. So follow us on our social media handles: Edgy Ideas, Twitter, Edgy Ideas, LinkedIn, and so on. So at this junction, I want to take your questions. Sorry. So I want to take your questions now. Who has a question? Who has a question for me? Please, you can unmute your microphone now. I need to get feedback from you. Unmute your microphone, and then let's have your question. This class has lasted for, I think, 45 minutes. So who has a question, please? Good to have you online, Mr. Isa. Mr. Isa is my boss. Good to have you online, sir. Good to have you online. Okay, so does anybody have a question, please? If you don't have a question, I'll assume that we should probably bring this class to a close. I'm going to give the next 2 minutes to make sure that there are no questions. Okay, 1 minute is gone. Okay, so in my 1 minute, let me just, for those that just joined now, like my boss, Mr. Isa, let me, okay, let me just try to share my screen. So we talked about, summarily, we talked about 5 steps to solving a problem. The first step is always empathy. You need to understand the people who would be using your solution. Who are these guys? What are they passing through? Put yourself, immerse yourself in them. And how to do it is, first of all, observe the people, interview them, immerse yourself, feel their pain, and then you move. What this empathy part helps you do is that it helps you define the problem. It helps you define the problem rightly. You have to define the problem rightly. And then when you've defined your problem, like I say, you cannot solve a problem you've not rightly defined. It helps you to begin to ideate. In your ideation part, you go for quantity ideas, not quality. Quantity ideas first, not quality. Quantity ideas. Write as many ideas that comes to your head. No idea is stupid, no idea is wild. When you've written your ideas down, you now begin to iterate based on feedbacks, begin to look into the ideas one after the other, and then that helps you, from the feedbacks you get, that helps you narrow down your ideas to the quality idea. Now when you've gotten your quality idea, you prototype your idea. Do a fictional or a not real solution. Build a not real solution that is relevant, fast and cheap. So build to learn. So once you build, you look at it, you analyze it, you get back. Like I said, what prototyping helps us do, that it helps us to fail early so that we can succeed sooner. It helps us to fail early. And when you prototype, you test. When you've tested and you're testing, show people, don't tell them, show them. Once you've shown them, allow them to do their critiquing, and then with that, you would have been able to come up with a solution that works. A solution that works. I'm hoping that this recording will be available after now for us to share with those who are not here. So thank you, Lord Amler. Lord Amler is saying that the class was impactful. Thank you so much for this feedback. Thank you for joining the class. For those of us that joined, a lot of people have had to leave. Probably they lost their data finished or so on. But for everyone who has joined this class today, thank you so much. You have a wonderful night rest. I'm hoping that after today, after now, you would stop complaining and then start looking for problems that you are going to have to start solving. All right, good night. Thank you.